Hey folks, so it's Eric, and yeah, basically I'm here at a resort on the edge of town of Playa del Carmen, Mexico, where Peter Sage has invited me to come meet him. Now, I found out when I got into this place that they don't allow guests. You have to make a reservation, so I did that on the spot, right at the entrance, showed it to them. Now I'm walking to the place, and I'm gonna meet Peter. Super interesting because 5 years ago, Peter invited me for free to his millionaire business school, basically, and yeah, it all worked out, and yeah, now I have the money to pay for a night in this hotel to meet him. He was gonna ask me to call ahead and see if they're guests, and as soon as they told me no, you need a reservation, I just made one on the spot. So interesting part of the entrepreneur's journey when you can afford to do stuff like that for, 1 hour meeting with a guy who helped you a lot with his ideas. So hopefully there will be good ideas today. Yeah.
All right,
I'll look at you.
okay, so my camera is here.
Yes,
Ready?
got it.
So actually I'll do this and then I'll come in. So
Okay.
you stand here.
Yeah.
And then so I'll be here and I'll bring you in this way.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So where are we? Only once. Freaking video here, guys. What the hell? Come on. Flush. And video. There we are. 1 second. I shall count us in. And hey guys, Peter here. Just finished the Joe Dispenza 1 week advanced meditation retreat and workshop. If you've not done any of Joe's work, I implore you, go check him out. I followed this guy since What the Bleep. It's been an absolute pleasure to see his career move forward the way it has and the amount of people he's impacting right now around the world. It's been a real pleasure to be able to share the event here with him for the last week or so with 1,000 other people. Anyway, I put out the fact I'm here in Cancun in Mexico, and as the world is getting smaller these days, I had one of my former students actually reach out to me and say, hey, you're in Cancun, I'm in Cancun. So as most people know, if I'm around and you want to meet up, then I'm always open. So I had a really good friend of mine, Eric, who's actually a former student of the Sage Business School from 5 years ago. I've not seen this guy for 5 years, and what do? He jumps in the car, he books our room at the hotel just to come say hi, and this is Eric. So Eric, why don't you tell the people what your story is?
Well, yeah, my name is Eric. I'm from Canada, and I had this business idea years ago, and I moved to Serbia and became an online IT tech, and it was just like the start of that when I went to Sage Business School in 2015, and the whole thing gave me this sort of framework of not just the business tactics, but the values and the sort of mindset that I needed to actually be where I am today, which is now I'm running a 7-figure US dollars per year business, and we've got more than 50 people working full-time for the business around the world in more than 17 countries, and I get to travel to places like Mexico and all these different places. And I look back to that thing in November of 2015, and it was a real turning point in just believing that I could be the sort of person who ran a business like this, and it's only my life is great now, and thanks a lot to the structure that I was able to be educated on in the Sage Business School. Well, it's a lot easier to run a really solid business, like both from the values standpoint and the sort of like sort of what I want from it, and to be the person I want leading it. So thanks a lot, Peter.
Excellent. No, absolutely a real pleasure for me. Always grateful, and very humbling to be able to hear from people that actually not just go through the work, but apply the work. Remember, guys, knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. And you see that in personal growth so much. People learn everything but apply nothing. And that's why I teach what I teach, because it's not just the mechanics. It's how do you get over yourself? How do you get out of your own way? How do you overcome your fear of procrastination or deserving? So many people have an issue with actually saying the front part of their brain says they want wealth and success and everything else, but the main part of their brain is still running childhood programming of what they think money is bad, or I don't deserve it, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we handle. That's what my work teaches, and that's why it's such a privilege to be able to meet Eric here after 5 years and see the success that he's got. So
I remember the phrase from the last day, and it was something like, I am a rock star tech boss, and I do this and that, and now actually I am living it. So.
Your identity statement.
Yeah, exactly. Rockstar tech boss. That's
And
That's how I feel.
He's now a walking, talking
Flying around
official
the world, yeah.
rock star tech boss that's flying around the world.
Yeah.
Anyway, Eric, love you, brother. Thanks for being the example.
Thanks a
And
lot.
guys, again, there's nothing special about the two people you see here. Right? If there's anything you want to take on this, I'll put it in the words of my dear ex-mentor, Errol Abramson, who's sadly no longer with us. But his book on YouTube, You Can Too. And I know Eric, he was also a big fan of Errol and worked with Errol as well on your business. So
yeah,
remember, guys, if there's anything you're going to take out of this, don't put us on a pedestal. Just understand that you can too.
Also, the phrase you said once about being allergic to mediocrity. Yeah. I mean, look at us here. This is wonderful, and people are freezing in places that are all locked down and restricted, and we're here in Mexico doing this.
Everything is possible, my friends.
Yeah.
Everything is possible. I love you guys. Go be amazing, and I'll speak to you soon.
Catch you later. Well, that was an interesting experience. Catching up with Peter Sage. I mean, the man's one of the most different people that you can meet. Sort of like on a vibrational level, and actually he had just been here for a many day meditation retreat. I don't know how many days, but all the people who I was drinking with Peter Sage after the event, I just showed up for essentially the after party for the long meditation event, and that was interesting. So now you can see all of these people on the beach here, soaking in the sunrise. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful here. And I've never really actually stayed in a place like this. Well, I have, but just the whole experience of showing up here to meet someone like Peter Sage, and then last minute deciding that I'm going to sleep here, and then spending that money, and the feeling that I have that money now because I've built a business, and I'm able to do stuff like that because that's what I've sort of aligned myself with. That's what I don't know, we talked a lot about money and happiness, and one billionaire that we both knew, who was a mentor to both of us, who died recently, and as Peter said, he's now the richest man in the graveyard. And it's interesting, that he was sort of like a cautionary tale as well as an inspiration for both of us in business, who helps us build our businesses with great advice. But at the end, he died hoarding money. So that was interesting. What else? The fact that, I only really briefly met Peter in 2015 at his event. I was there the 3 days and participating, and I guess he got an idea of who I was. The fact that I could, message him on Facebook and just be like, hey, I was there 5 years ago. Do you want to meet up? It was but why wouldn't he want to hear about how participating in his event and that sort of thing impacted someone 5 years in? And it really did. I mean, I don't know where I'd be if I hadn't gone to those events, like that one with Peter Sage and the London Real event with Dan Pena in 2015. But it was definitely a huge shift of mentality and identity, and definitely did lead me to where I am today. And it's been a wild ride, and I hope it continues to be a wild ride. And this whole experience actually led me to believe that, this is it. This is where I wanted to be back then. And this day, coming to meet Peter Sage was somehow a celebration of having made everything that I wanted in my life. Or, no, not everything. But having made the business part of my life that I had been envisioning for the last, 5 or 7 years. That I had made it come true. And since 2015, Peter has been in jail. actually, and he wrote a book about it, and hearing about that was really interesting because, well, I mean, how many people do you know that like that who go to jail, and you know how they make it into somehow a positive experience and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's possible, folks. And it's all about vision, and it's all about decision, and it's all about if you're willing to jump outside of the box of society and live a life that's a little bit unusual, then it's definitely very possible. And there's people like Peter Sage who will help you on your way, and who are actually accessible and you can get to know, and who are just incredibly real people, despite how out there they seem. When you sit down there, well, I'm pretty out there, I suppose, so I'm one of those people. But, you know, you have to tune into the types of people that inspire you to go where you want to go. And Peter Sage is very much one of those people, I suppose. And, you know, talking about the whole scene of personal development and wellness, everybody's a fucking character. Everybody's nuts. Everybody's got an ego at the same time, and there's all this little infighting between them, you know, like, not even gonna go into it, but yeah. At the same time, the main thing is lives changed, lives made better, possibilities opened up, and, well, thank you to all the inspirational people on YouTube and stuff like that who have made this life possible, this lifestyle possible for me, and I hope that I can be one of those people for some of you people. So thanks a lot. I'll catch you guys later. So I guess I want to record more content about this experience, basically. As I'm walking out of the resort, I want to tell you why I'm going to be, rather than taking a taxi back into the city of Playa del Carmen, I'm going to be taking a Colectivo, which is like a minibus. First of all, I like it better, you know, like part of my journey is connecting with everything, and while it was super nice to hang out with Peter Sage and these other meditation people on this all-inclusive resort for a night, I truly belong on the other side of that barrier there. I truly belong in the wild, wild world of Mexico rather than in this, because this isn't really even like being in Mexico. It's like being in some sort of fantasy land. So I'm going to take this collective minibus from right outside this place, going into the city of Playa del Carmen, into the center, not just because it saves money. I could take a cab. I could afford to take a cab. I'm a successful entrepreneur, and you might ask, hey Eric, why don't you just take a cab? It's like, it's one, for the experience, two, for saving money, and three, it's just the connection to life and the people, and it's also really convenient. Like, this road right here is the main road. If it wasn't so convenient, I wouldn't do it probably, although I just walked 10 minutes out of the resort. But this main road goes right into the city, and it'll be pretty easy to, you know, find my way. It's one of these minibuses. So last night at the meditation alcohol after party, yeah, everybody was drinking, which I found kind of strange, that after so much time meditating for a few days that people wanted to drink. But I guess I would have been the same, and was the same, even though I didn't actually go in the meditation seminar. But basically, yeah, there was this lady and she sells this $5,000 water filter, and I asked, don't you want to find a way to give your technology to everyone? But she was adamant that people should have 5 $1,000 for this amazing water filter. She's like some chemist, scientist, whatever, turned meditation type person, and that they should have 5,000 for this water filter. Well, sometimes, yeah, sometimes people who even do have money for a taxi will still choose to take one of these minibuses just for the experience, and going around the world and staying in all sorts of different things and seeing life as it happens, uncontrolled raw life. It's part of what it is. What's the rest of my day look like today? Well, it looks like I'm gonna get on one of those things, by the way, one of those little buses there. Looks like doing a remote trumpet session with the guys in Belgrade for Eric and the Worldly Savages. Looks like running my business support venture. Looks like doing yoga with Rising Nomad. So Worldly Savages, support venture, Rising Nomad, that's my day. And I gotta get out of this resort to go back to my apartment in the city there to be, be who I need to be, to do all of this stuff. And yeah, it's Monday morning and I'm ready to go. Catch you guys later. Hola, Playa del Carmen Centro. ¿Cuánto cuesta?
40 pesos.
Okay. Yeah, so 40 pesos, folks. I wonder how much a cab would be. And look how fast this thing goes. Woo! I'll be there in no time. And here we are, folks, back in the real world of Mexico. It's I feel like coming home somehow, to be back in, the real world and not that resort. So I don't know, I didn't feel like I could do what I needed to do with my support venture, Worldly Savages, Worldly Savages, or even Rising Nomad. No, that's not true. The Rising Nomad yoga class would have been really good from the beachfront 5-star resort. But there's something to be said for the grit. Look at this line to go back the other way of people lining up to get in the little combis, colectivos. But anyways, there's something to be said about the real life and being in a real place with real people and even real problems. This was a nice little break from that. I'm happy that I took it. But what's important in life is vibrancy, is diversity, is all the different sort of, shades of nuance about this life. And you don't get that if you're only ever at the resort, only ever in your perfect sterilized house, or condominium, even worse. And that's the life that I left in Canada, to be a part of this crazy world where I get to fly around the world building this business to make other people be able to live a life like me and then go out and have an adventure for their life with all this craziness and stuff like that. And Peter gave me some good advice yesterday when I told him about the business, how it's progressed, a good sort of consultation. But the main takeaway is actually that when I was speaking with it about the business and how passionate I am to be running this support venture thing, Peter was he was convinced, he was feeling it. He saw that I'm radiating this business with congruence of everything. Yeah. So yeah, lots of insights I got to process that are going to help the business life and all that stuff from this meeting with Peter. He's definitely a very inspirational person to be around because he vibrates on a frequency that a lot of people can't and don't, and maybe even don't want to. And I do want to be one of those people. I do want to be like one of those out there people who comes into your life and says a bunch of stuff that takes, you know, months or years to rattle around in your brain, and yeah, that's how I gotta be. So, mission successful. Now, how about the reveal of how much money I spent on the room and the all-inclusive resort experience last night? How much money I spent at the Snap decision when they told me at the gate that visitors are not allowed. You have to have a reservation. Well, it was 6,000 pesos, Mexican pesos. So, yeah, that's about $300 US. That's how much money I spent on that experience. And for an entrepreneur who's come to my level, it's not a lot of money, and I don't spend that sort of money on accommodation very often. I'm usually staying in Airbnbs that cost about 20 euros a night or 30 euros a night max. But for this experience, it was worth it. Alright guys, well thanks for watching this adventure, and I'll catch you later.